In Wizard101, there are 7 schools: Myth, Life, Death, Balance, Ice, Fire, and Storm. Starting from the beginning of the game, the player must make a choice on which school their first character quests within the long run. Myth is a school based on imagination that dwells between fire and ice. Life is, well, life, and a rest between fire and storms. Death is all things undead, and it sits between ice and storm. Balance is everything in between. So, what is this, like a giant soul-bonding session of intertwining schools? I don't know, but anyway, ice is about defenses, fire is about enthusiasm, storm is about offenses. So before we begin, let's take a look at what KingsIsle put out as the most popular school. The most popular schools in 2018 were Storm, Death, and Fire. The least popular were Life, Ice, Balance, and Myth. Now as you can see, Myth is dead last for some reason, at least in the community's perspective. However, this was 2 years ago, and encompasses the entirety of players, so who knows, maybe things have changed. I know tier lists are the new trends now, but this isn't going to be a tier list. For 1 week at 30 minutes a day, I parked my butt in Uncle Merle's office, viewing the young protégés that phased into existence. Now, I didn't watch one by one as their dreams were shattered once they hit the wall on the other side of the street, but I was curious what school they picked and if there was any correlation to the polls on Reddit. As we delve deeper, you're gonna see some numbers, but don't worry, it's not gonna be complicated. It's not like it's standard deviations, normal distributions, binomial distributions, chi-squared distributions. None of that math and statistical stuff, okay? This is not a Zoom math class, and I'm not your professor. I'm just a guy who's interested in figuring out the main question for this video. If you want to do that type of math for this, go ahead in the comments section. I ain't stopping you. Now some people might say, but Hunter, this data is all wrong. It's biased, you forgot to factor in the room temperature, the Ambrose equation, the fart currents, and the time of day being off by 5 seconds. The only thing that was different in this sample size was the realms, which were always crowded or full. Other than that, everything else was consistent. The reason for that was because I have no control over whether realms would be full or not. If they were full, I couldn't force my way in there. Another rule I set in place was only level 10 and below were counted. Anything higher I didn't count because what we want to know is what schools new or old players choose. Higher level players were not included because it not only takes a lot of time to get to that point, but some people tend to give up those schools if they deem it not to be fun. So there might be a huge difference in popularity between high levels and low levels. To have a separate set of data to compare my data with, I asked my friend Sabrina to help out. She saw the same old schools, the same old things, every day for 5 minutes a day up until a week. I'd almost think she was tired. Anyway, this was a result of her fruitful labor. As you can see, Death pretty much blows everyone out of the water for some reason. All the other schools seem to be in proximity of each other. For my set of data, I did everything the same as her, except for 2 things. I didn't switch the realm areas, and I extended the time to 30 minutes instead of the 5 I gave her. As you can see from the data I collected, Deaf again totally dominates the other schools in numbers. There is virtually no competition here for who is first in popularity. What is interesting though is the Balance School seems to be the least popular or most scarce of the bunch. The Life School appears to be the Malcolm in the middle, sandwiched between the hot-headed Reeses and the lovable Deweys. Or if you want another comparison, the Yandere's and the Dondere's. I do have a couple of theories on why Deaf and Balance are high and low on the list respectively. Deaf could have been considered the easiest school to solo with due to its health draining spells, allowing them to have longevity throughout a battle. Balance, on the other hand, is somewhat known as a support school due to their many utility spells. Compared to other MMOs, barely anybody wants to play a support role such as a healer or a tank. Also, from a psychological perspective, barely anybody is truly balanced. Just like some people have a temper while others could be cool and level-headed. But then again, this is just my conjecture on the subject. What do you think? Comment down below your suggestions. Now, this is in no way 100% absolute, because as you can see, a few of the schools are very close in percentage to one another. Deaf, though, I can most certainly say without a shred of doubt, is the most popular chosen school among players new and old in relation to the data collected. One of the other things I did was make a poll on my community tab to see what schools people played. While it isn't entirely accurate because people can choose 2 schools, we can get a general idea of what schools are popular and unpopular. Def and Storm still seem to be at the top, while Ice, Balance, and Life are at the bottom. Lastly, I want to say all the proceeds and revenue from this video and other videos are going towards my school's food pantry up until April 23rd. In these difficult times, many students struggle with food insecurity and experience hunger in their everyday lives. The food pantry not only provides a sense of community but comfort to those in need. Students should stay in school, not stay hungry. If you want to know more about my school's food pantry or want to support the cause, please visit the links down below in the description. Anyway, with that, take care and see you guys.